on what they want to know and that sort of thing.
Absolutely, because I think we can all agree that at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and otherwise you're flying blind.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I am a firm believer that it takes just as much effort to go in a circle as it does a straight line. You know, so if you don't know what you don't know, you're
That's
probably
right.
going to put in just as much effort if you took the time to learn something.
That's very true.
And then move forward. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think we all really, really believe in enabling people through education, but you have to have an open heart and a teachable spirit. You have to do the work too. You know, we're here to help you.
Right.
But, you know, just like Nathan said, reach out to us. We're happy to be here. We're happy to be a resource to you. The reason we
Right.
all do this is because we all want to live in a different world.
Exactly. You know, and when you have this much information free at your fingertips, why not take advantage of it? I had a young lady come on, and she is the national vice president of Arbonne, and she was talking about wealth building and the opportunities that they present. And, you know, this woman makes like, and she, you know, and I'll say it because she gave me permission. She makes over $20,000 a month. A month. I'm going to say it again. She makes over $20,000 a month. And
like doing that.
Claire is on her way. And they sat here and talked about how you can become a part of a company that can show you how to build wealth like that. Why wouldn't you call her? Why wouldn't you? You know, she's offering herself. She's offering the information. Why wouldn't you call her and say, I want to learn how you did that. Show me how, right? You know, and we had Katrina on who talks about skincare and, you know, the evolution that she went through and her own struggle with her own skin and how that struggle took her to a deep depression to the point where she wanted to commit suicide. And she, you know, she rose out of the ashes to own her own skincare line where she's very sensitive to natural products and people doing things for their skin that are good for themselves, you know, good for their skin. And she's willing to walk you through that. Why wouldn't you call her?
Yeah.
You know, so we have a lot of people come on our show that have great information. My pastor came on and he talked about faith and courage, and he was so inspiring. You know, we left here that day like we're all going to Zoe Christian Fellowship and we're going to all at least sit in on one, you know,
Yeah, right.
you know, sit in at least once to, you know, get closer and see what else he has to say, you know? So we have a lot of people come on from all sectors of life, you know, that are experts in their own field, and they don't mind sharing and they don't mind teaching, and they're giving it away for free. You know, so if you haven't subscribed to Lunch with the Finance Bunch, please do.
Yeah.
Lunch with the Finance Bunch, just go to YouTube and subscribe and be a part of the conversation. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want to know. You know, tell us what information you want us to get out there, and we'll do it. You know, we want this to be a large community of people who are all headed in the same direction. You know, when we talk about building a tribe speaks the same language. They understand each other. You know, they speak the same language. They don't have to all look alike. They don't all have to be in the same age group. They don't have to be the same gender. They just have to hear and speak the same language. And so, you know, this is a tribe called Lunch with the Finance Bunch. And we want you guys to join us.
Yeah.
And become a
Yeah,
part.
well, there's power in numbers, and I think that just like you were talking about earlier with small businesses, I know from my own personal experience that one of the hardest things of being a small business owner is that feeling of being alone sometimes.
Right.
And I always have to remember I'm not alone, because there are so many professionals and so many experts in my circle of influence that I can reach out to whenever I really need help. And a lot of those people are in this room right now. But I think the more you can build a community like that, the better.
Yeah, I think human beings, we weren't meant to live the way that we're living now. You know, from a purely, you know, if you look at the history of humanity, we started out living in tribes. We started out functioning as units where our survival literally depended on the other, and you made it work. And today, I think just because of the way that modern society is structured, we don't have that, and it's something that we need to be truly great.
I believe that to
I'm
be
at
true.
my best when I have a great team with me.
Me too.
Because exactly. We all have our not so strong points. So it's really great to have other people that sort of negate those and mitigate it from being any sort of a drawback or affecting you negatively. So I think me, teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. That's right. Is there somebody on the phone? Okay, somebody's on our phone. Who is it? Hello.
Hi, this is Big Shirley from the Popo Show.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hey.
How are you, my dear?
I'm doing great. I'm just tuned in to my favorite digital noontime show on Fridays, Lunch with the Finance Bunch.
Yay.
And I just wanted to congratulate you, Miss Charline, and your entire team for bringing us such timely and relevant financial information week to week. And just wanted to send you some love and tell you how proud I am of you guys. Congratulations on 1 year.
Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
I'm glad you called in.
I wanted to tell you my favorite show over the year was Corey, the DJ.
Yes.
And I really connected with him because in my work, I work with a lot of working class folks and unskilled adults, and he really made it easy for me to have tools and motivational ideas to suggest to them. And I just thought that his business model was something that almost anyone could tap into to get themselves going, and I really enjoyed that show. That was one of my favorites.
Mine too. Remember when Corey came on and he talked about, he gives classes and on DJing and how, anyone can be a DJ, and, he has a DJ school. And so I love that show too, Cheryl. That was another good one. Thanks for bringing that one up. Yeah, that was a great show. And he came on at the beginning, and I was like, oh my gosh, Corey, I'm so scared. I mean, he was like, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. So, yeah. Shout out to Corey.
Corey Newman.
Corey
Shout out
Newman.
to Corey. So I just want to love you guys so much. Lunch with the Finance Bunch, and big ups to Accelerated Radio and Mr. Kevin Nash for being all that. And our entire team, we just really appreciate Lunch with the Finance Bunch, and I'm looking forward to another year.
Yay. Thank you, Cheryl.
Us
We are
You're
too.
welcome. Have a great day. Keep celebrating.
Thank you,
Oh,
thank
we
you,
will.
thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
That was nice that she called in.
Yeah.
She was the one, Cheryl Branch offered me the opportunity to do this show. And so when she did, when the door opens, that's another thing. When a door opens, say yes. And so this door opened. I'd never been on the radio or television or anything like that. Like I said, my background is in finance, and my passion is for people to understand it and be able to empower themselves and create a better life for themselves and their families. And so when she said, Charlene, would you like to do a show? I said, yes. And then that night I went to sleep. I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And then I was like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You got to talk yourself down. And, every doubt and fear set in. Okay, so then the next thing came up. I said, I'm going to do a show. I wanted to lose weight first. If I waited to lose weight to do a show, we still might not be in session. That's ridiculous.
Well, there's
Right?
always a reason.
There's always a
that
reason.
as a cushion.
Yeah.
You find these reasons not to do what you were created to do. No, and guess what? I'll tell you a secret. No one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares. All they want is the information.
And no one else 100% has it figured out. As
No
much
one,
as they might tell
right?
you.
Exactly.
And we and Elizabeth actually have talked about this a lot before. I know for me that the reason that I am where I am today is because I didn't know what to do in my mid-20s, and I was kind of freaking out and scrambling. And so I just started doing something.
Right.
And taking that opportunity,
That's
like
right.
you said. And I just started making steps, and some of them were right and some of them weren't. But it sure enough led me to be in a place where I'm really happy and I'm doing something that I love doing. And it takes time, and it sometimes probably, takes some tears and
Yeah.
some fits and stuff like that. But you know, I would just encourage anybody that doesn't know what the next step is to just start doing something.
Yeah. And you go ahead.
I'm so sorry. No, I just think, you know, it cripples us. It creates inertia, and then all of a sudden you don't really have a future. You just kind of have a present.
That's right.
You know, you really have to create the future, and a lot of people get it stuck in their heads that they have to have it exactly mapped out. Like, I'm going to be this kind of doctor, I'm going to live in this city, I'm going to have this car. You know, sometimes I think that's really limiting to your life. I think at the end of the day, it just boils down to committing. You know, I'm going to build something, and it's going to be the right thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, and just as things start to unfold, you never know what's going to fall out of those trees until you start shaking them.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're just standing there, tree's going to just keep growing.
Yeah.
You're not going to move it.
I know, you have so many. I always tell Jen, I was like, you should have a show called Jen's Nuggets.
Thank you.
Nuggets, right.
I'll have to give a shout out to my father, Dr. Hoffman.
Yeah.
I'll have to give a shout out to my dad, Dr. Hoffman, you know, because he always really believed in making sure that I understood the information. So as a child, you know, when he was trying to impart, you know, big ideas to me, he always broke them down into little sayings for me. And it's so funny, as I got older, I've really come to them being more, I started developing my own, because I gotta say the circle straight line, that's all Dr. Hoffman. I can't take full credit for that one. That's my dad. But you know, I think people shy away from anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, and what we all have to learn to accept about ourselves is we all learn differently.
Right.
You know, so anytime we make ourselves bad or wrong or feel stupid for not knowing and feel that shame isn't really that much different from fear.
Right.
You know, and you've got to love yourself. You've got to understand that you're human, having a human experience. You are exactly what you're supposed to be and exactly what you're not.
Right.
You
And
know?
it's okay not to get it right the first time or the second time. You
the
know,
third
they
time.
say
Like,
fail your
well,
way into success, you know? Just
Again, we've talked about this before about it's like you can either try and fail or you can just be miserable and not try at all.
Exactly.
But to be fair, you know, I've learned more from my failures than I have from my successes. You know, I've
I
built
completely
businesses,
100%
I've lost
agree.
businesses, I've worked in various industries, you know, and one thing I've walked away from is my best lessons were my hardest earned.
Right.
You know, they were the ones that came down from those failures. But if you look at it statistically, most entrepreneurs fail what? Is it 5 to 7 times?
That's right.
I mean, look at Donald Trump. He went dead broke, and then now he's up even further than he was before. And I, you know, may have my own personal opinions about that man and his hair. However, I will give him credit for his perseverance.
That's right.
You know, because he was down more money than most of us will ever even conceptualize in making a lifetime. I mean, he was down a whole lot of zeros.
That's right.
You know, but he had enough perseverance, tenacity, and belief in his own ability to execute that he made it happen.
Yeah.
So I
Probably
think
surrounded by a good team too.
Exactly.
It must have been.
Although he's got to can that
lunch
hairdresser.
bunch.
He's got to
I know, the hairdresser's
hairdresser.
gotta go. He doesn't have
That is
a
just
Jen or
like,
an
I know, I
Elizabeth.
watched that man's hairline just like over the years, just kind of move like a clock. I'm like, what are you rocking there, Donald? I mean, we're pushing like
Just
look
shave
at
it.
430
Just,
dirty right there.
I know, right? Just shave it.
just shave
that's
it.
what
Get
needs
it
to-
over with.
Just shed what does not serve you, and sir, that hair, it does not serve you.
Just saying.
Anyway, off on that. So, Charlene, I do have a question for you.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
The show today, what do you think the most exciting changes that you've been, if you look at where we're sitting today and where we were sitting a year ago?
Well, I think a year ago, we were at a different location. We hadn't fully, I had the thought in my head of what I wanted the show to look like conceptually. And we've been walking that walk every week until we've gotten here. And we haven't arrived, but we're on our way, you know. And I think the biggest changes that I've seen are, you know, the fact that the show is communicated out to so many people. You know, and you're working on my website so that it can go out to even more people. We have the YouTube channel up and running, and, you know, it's done very well, very tastefully. And, you know, I am a perfectionist. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is that things don't have to be perfect, that they can evolve, and that people actually like watching your progress. Yeah. And so me being a very private person, having myself exposed like this to people being able to watch my progress, that in itself was an evolution for me, because I'm a behind the scenes kind of person with a whole lot of energy for teaching, and for helping people. And so for me, the biggest evolution was me opening myself up to being exposed.